Assalamu alaikum viewers, this is Riyaz Aziz and the program is Journalist Insight. Today I have with me in the program Journalist Insight from Iraq, a very renowned journalist there, the resident editor and the editor-in-chief of Iraq Al-Yawm, Mr. Massar Abdi. Massar Abdi is a senior journalist and I want to talk to him the position of the journalism in Iraq, what is there, what is happening there and how journalists are working. Thank you very much Mr. Massar, you gave us time. First of all, tell us about your career, how did you start journalism and what are you doing now?
First, thank you, sir, about this opportunity to show my opinion about the journalism and generally and journalism in Iraq especially. First, I want every concerning in this matters to know the journalism in Iraq is suffering from critical problems like the reach to the information, like the access to the international communities who are interested with helping the journalists and many other problems.
Massar, we'll come to this question.
Yes.
First of all, I requested you to tell us about yourself.
Yes.
How did you come in journalism and where did you study and such things about yourself?
I come to journalism world from the vehicle of literature. You know, I am a writer of short stories, and this is what opened the door for me to the journalism.
Right.
You know, many writers choose journalism to promoting for themselves and their projects and their literatures, and step by step they falling in the love of journalism, and that's what happened with me exactly. I am published 2 books of short stories. I participate in many newspapers as culture editors, and step by step until I reach to the executive-in-chief of Iraq Al-Yawm newspaper.
Yeah, that's very good. You reached the position of executive chief editor of Iraq Al-Yawm. This is very good for us to know. But we want to know, did you study journalism anywhere, or you happen to be journalist just without studying?
So I want to clear something first. I am an agriculture engineer. That's a important thing.
Very nice, very nice.
Okay, this is very important. But this career need passion, you know, need passion, need some curiosity. If you don't own it, you can't work. If you graduate from media college or not, this is first. And you know, in the process, in your work, you learn step by step what you need, what happened. At the same time, you know, the workshops that the international communities which interested in helping the journalists give us some workshops, and the editing, you know, the editing need more writing skills maybe than reporters, you know.
So how many reporters you have in your newspaper, and what is its structure, and do you have correspondent around the globe or not?
So I want to let everyone know the journalism in Iraq have a limited capacities. You know, that's your relationship with the other journalists depend on the subjects that they bring to you. We have little as a permanent employee in our journalist. We dealing with the journalists give them the wage dependent on the materials they bring to us. You know, the economic and other things maybe push you to make this first about the globe and other things. You know, when your discourse be independent and circular, and maybe you are practice good journalism, if the context let me say this, you have good relationship with many journalists from everywhere. I speak about Arabic world especially. We have colleagues from Egypt, from Dubai, from many Arab countries, and even the international organizations like Elders, if you hear about it, sir, about other international organizations. They prefer to deal with us because they think our angles is more independent than the other
Newspaper.
colleague
Okay, okay.
so far. Yes.
What is circulation of your newspaper?
The circulation of my
Oh,
newspaper,
yeah,
sir.
yeah, yeah. How many
Yes,
people
it
read your
is.
newspaper?
Sir, we have a website. We have a website, but as average, we have.
You do not
Yeah.
publish your print your
No, no,
newspaper.
sir. No, sir. We publish it in paper, okay, and publish it in paper. But you know, sir, because the economic situation, the copies, the paper copies, cannot define your weight on the street or with the readers. And I think this is for all newspaper, other newspaper, Iraqi newspaper, especially I speak about Iraq. But when you go to the website, you see there is 20,000, sometimes 70,000, and you see there is another problem. The Iraqi newspapers depend on social media plates lately, not from good time. Because of that, maybe we need more time to evaluate our weight in the journalism, and other
Okay,
people,
okay.
they will decide.
How many top rating newspaper are there in Iraq and they are being published?
So there is many new newspapers have top readers, maybe like the government newspaper Al Sabah, and there is also independent newspaper like Zaman. I think these newspapers occupation a good space in Iraqi media. But I want you to tell you something. Iraqi newspaper maybe is different about the other newspaper in some points, that she trying always to give her readers many angles about the cases and events in the world, not just what the government said and what the other power said. We are trying to gathering all this information and give the reader some scenario to read the events and what happened.
Okay, do you face any problems when you are publishing anything against the government? Do you face problems or pressures from the government?
So it is invisible, not so clearly, because you saw the governments now the space of media in Iraq, and how I tell you, it is free for everyone. But you know, sir, when they pressure on you and the resources and other things, I think this is something of invisible wars against you. You know, sir, in the
No, I want to
transition.
know what kind of
Yes, sir.
pressures. What kind of pressures?
Like
They
example,
threat
sir.
you,
Like
or
example.
what do they do?
Sir, I can't tell you it is black or white. We talk about gray. We are talk about gray spots. You know, I just try to give you my opinion, and the evaluation will be for you and for the watchers and other interesting people. I give you one example, like the advertisements or from the government institutions. If you don't, if you are your discourse not identical with the government and viewing for the things, they will limiting your access for these advertisements. That's first step. Second things, you know, communication companies. You know, there is laws in our Iraqi constitution for these companies and other things to help the media. Okay, there is no implementing for this law, and in the same time, sir, the government show the international community that all newspapers in Iraq have relation with partisan parts. You know, that's mean what I say, because our affiliation to one party, not because I express my view. You know, because you know, sir, the international journalism depend on the what I call them the classical elites, like politicians, like tribe leaders, like the prominent figures speech in journalism. We are the other people who have a different discourse have no access to express their thoughts, their critics, their thoughts about journalism.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I hope I cleared.
Now, next question
Yes.
is government. This government of Haider Abadi.
Yes.
It is coming to its end, I think. Now the tenure is about to finish. It's September, I think. In September, the government will complete its tenure. I want to know, how did you find this government? Is it better for the people of Iraq?
Um, the problem in all your questions have many colors. I can't give you good or bad, but if you let me to speak about my critics to this government, I say it is go far away and specializing the economic institutions of states. I think this is the big problems of this government. That first. The second problem of Mr. Al-Abadi, he's don't confirm in solving some problems. You know, he just wait, and after think like what happened now in Iraq, what you see now, the demonstrations of people and their request. He don't do nothing. He don't do nothing. But if you want to compare him with the Prime Minister of Iraq, Mr. Maliki, I think Mr. Abadi is better, because he don't use the sectarian language, the sectarian for attract the people for his side. I think this is the only good thing that Mr. Badi have it, if you want to compare it with Mr. Maliki, I think.
So you, in the comparison, you think Mr. Haider Abadi is better than Mr. Maliki. Otherwise, his steps and
No,
his
sir.
policies are not very good.
Sir, you ask me about a specific thing that my answer is
responded.
specific.
Okay,
Okay.
we come to next question. What
Okay.
kind of problems journalists are facing in Iraq, especially if I ask question regarding access to information? Do you have access to information, or the journalists have access to information? And if they deny it, what do you do? How do you protest?
Sir, I see some of your interviews with some of your respectable guests yesterday. I think one of our colleague is from USA. He said some phrase so famous maybe in his country in USA. We have no dog there. That's mean about he differentiate between analyzing and real journalism. I think, as I hear him to say, the problem has the partisan communities share the administrative of government. You know, that's mean the secrets of administrating the government between them, that anyone don't let you to reach this information. What you do, you depend on analyzing, gathering the information, giving some scenarios. You know, the Western journalism, when they talk about information, about analyzing, about journalism, they don't understand how the process of governance, how the process of powers work here in our communities. My protest, how you can confirm some of your scenarios. You put some scenarios, and the reflection of the government will make some of your scenarios is clear more than the others. It is like a play, like Tom and Jerry. If the context give me this opportunity to clear my mind. Uh, uh, Other things, sometimes it reach to threatening assassination and other thing. You know, sir, there's something we call it the moral assassination. That means sometimes governments and parties, what I said, blow your reputation. You know, this is a kind of
Yeah,
assassination.
yeah, yeah,
That's what
definitely.
I can tell you. That's what I can tell you.
That's better. You have told everything within a very short story. You have told everything. Oh, it happens in Pakistan. Listen, Mr. Misar, this happens in Pakistan. We face
Yes,
directly physical assassination when we
physics.
go. It is happening in Pakistan. We
Yes.
definitely have very barriers, but we are very open to say everything. Are
No.
you? Do you think the freedom of expression is in Iraq is very much you have, and you can see? Okay, you can face many problems after the expressions, but you are free to give expressions, and you are free to write everything.
Sir, I will tell you something. My luck is better than journalist. Ask me why. Ask me why. Because the category of my age, I have no relationship with the ex regime.
Right.
Okay,
Okay.
when it is 2003, I was 26. You know, that's mean the present regime have no document or no files about me. When I speak, I can speak freely because I have no files. You know, from the other thing, from past or other thing. This don't. This is not how I say it. No one have this opportunity to talk. As I said to you, sir, it is not black and white. maybe I don't tell you a specific answer about these matters, but I think when you want to speak about the journalism in the third world, especially in Iraq, you need to see the shadows, the different shadows of every experience in any country, and especially in my country.
Yes, I asked the
Yes,
question
sir.
here, what kind of problems you are facing in Iraq and especially journalists. In Pakistan, I said it is a physical assassination, and you said in Iraq it is moral assassination happening. Okay, I
No,
asked the
no,
question.
sir. Please, sir. But just me comment about these sentences. We have many martyrs of journalism in Iraq. Their number reach more than I think 400. There is physical assassination and moral assassination. I talk about you why Massar Abdi is have some discourse not identical with government, not identical with the present regime, have no problem and can say everything, freely. I talk to you. I take this right because I have no contacts, no relationship with parties and other things. My other colleagues who and maybe because I am in the picture, maybe my other colleagues who are not in the picture as reporters, there is more pressures on them, there is more threatening on them. And this is I don't to give you tragic pictures about Iraq, but believe me, there is a tragic situation for journalism in Iraq because they want the regime in Iraq want to show the world it is good regime practicing democracy and other things, but in reality, sir, there is shortage access for information. There is shortage in financing yourself and your project. At the same time, there is a pressures don't let you to contact with the international community of journalism. At the same times, there is a classical bodies of journalism in Iraq. The government cooperate with them to pressuring on journalists. Let me ask you something. How the number of journalists in Pakistan? How many them? How many they are?
They are in
In
thousands.
numbers.
In thousands.
Okay, okay.
They are
Give me
more than
give me
50, 60,000.
60
60
60,000.
60,000. Yeah, more than 60,000.
Okay, okay. More than 60,000. Tell me the number of Pakistan, the number of people in Pakistan. How many your people? 60 million, 70 million, 70 million in Pakistan.
Okay,
Then
it's
uh,
21 crores.
I want to.
21 crore. It becomes 10, 20, 25 million.
Okay, sir, 25 millions. Okay, sir. But I tell you, in the country like Egypt, there are now maybe 100 million. Okay, there is only 8,000 journalists. This is the exaggerating and the numbers of journalists mean they want to make the professional and really journalists' voice vanishing, and these numbers. I hope I make my point about this.
Okay,
Go, sir.
okay. Now I asked a question when our connection was disconnected. Uh,
Yes, sir.
your government is pro-government or the Western pro-government, or what kind of government is it is? You think?
What kind of government?
Yeah.
Please repeat this.
Is it pro-American government, pro-Western government? What is?
Sir, I can tell you something. The financial system of Iraq, the stability of regime in generally, not only the government in Iraq, is depend on on two players, America and Iran. You know, these two players, I think, they play dangerous play because their national interests in Iraq, because their national securities, because the geopolitical interest. I think you can see USA because you know like the ex Secretary of State of America, Rex Tillerson said when the budget of the foreign ministry of USA will degrade it to have or maybe to less than half. They said we have people work here in our ministry understand the world in way that we can't understand it. The problem of USA, she want to shaping the world on their understanding. They don't use the facts of geography, of history, of cultures. They think all these things is accessories. You know, this is the really problem of USA when dealing with any country in the Middle East, and I think in the most regions of the world. The problem of Iran, she depend on sectarian perspective to deal with Iraq. And she show also, because she's a regional power, that the reality of Iraq depend on sectarian affiliation. And this is not true. As I tell you before, sir, it is not matter black or white. Our government trying to be mediator between these two powers. You know, this is so tough thing. This is so hard that I think, sir, all these powers need to hear some other voices to evaluate the situation in Iraq directly. You know, now when I talk to you, sir, maybe there is many points I can't remember, I can't tell you, but what I want to tell you exactly, there is chaos. There is chaos in our country.
America is taking away Iraqi oil wealth. Is it true?
Sir, America take all the oil of the world. Which she give the prices. There is petrodollar, as we know.
What I mean to
what
say,
kind of?
no, what I mean to
What?
say, they have occupation over the oil wealth, and they are taking away without giving any penny to Iraqi nation or Iraq. Is it true?
This is, sir. I think this is not true. But what I tell you in the same time, sir, when you have the capacity and the power to make the price in the way you want, you make your currency as the first one, and the oil must you must sell the oil in American currency. That's kind of domination, you know, a hegemony, and this is not cool. If we want to use the words of language of movies, it is not cool. It is it's so complicated. At the same time, so our access for the oil sector limited, and there's many curtains around the oil industry in Iraq. That's I can give you all the answer.
So you are seconding my point of view or the question. I asked, America is taking away the oil wealth from Iraqi without paying any penny to them, and you are also stamping my question by saying this, that the curtains are there and we cannot see what is happening in the oil world.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir,
So,
I said, if you let me, our sovereignty on our resources is not completed. You know, the regulator for this industry and our international relationships about oil and other things is depending on America. Okay, this is important. The second thing, sir, the American companies of oil. She's the first companies. She's the channel. All the contracts becoming through these companies. I can't tell you this is right and this is wrong. I want to let you know all the information, and you can get a scenario. As you said, they maybe
okay,
don't give
okay.
us a penny, but how the salaries of the employees of governments, how the governments pay the salaries for the employees. You know, it is.
It is the only
Uh,
revenue they have. Okay, come to
eh,
another question. Uh,
yes.
America has designs, or West has designs for Iraqi nations or Iraq. They want to divide Iraq in 4 and 5 parts. What do you say about this theory?
I said this is a story before geopolitical bed for American. You know, sir, as I tell you, maybe a president of Turkey say it in lovely way. They said about America, they will go and we will stay here for thousands years. You know, there is geopolitical and rights and facts and this region. It is not knife and fork, and you come and make this is 5 pieces, 3 pieces. The problem, sir, of USA, as ex-president of United States, Mr. Obama said on Bloomberg, and one times, he think that the people in the region is more interesting in their sectarian identities than their national identities, and this is wrong. When I hear you say this, I laugh. I laugh. I laugh because he don't understand the problem. As I tell you, sir, the Western world depend on some people, on some journalists have a close relationship with him to tell him what he want to hear, not what the facts on the ground.
That's
Okay,
very important.
uh, like in
They
back.
tell the
Yes,
government,
sir.
or
Go.
they write the stories like they want to hear in that way,
Yes, yes.
against the fact. Okay, tell me about the Kurdistan. What is the story of Kurds, Iraqi Kurds?
Uh,
They do
sir,
not want to divide, or they do not want their separate independent country.
as I tell you, our Iraqi Kurdish people, and it is so important to put Iraqi before their nationality. The Iraqi Kurdish people is our brothers, our fellow citizens. They are decent, but the problem in the political elites, you know, they also have their industrial and economic relationship with the Western world. Okay, uh, sorry if I say this, but they act like pounds for Western communities. You say, at the same time, I am astonished when the world see the problems in Kurdistan and their rights and live, but they don't see the devastating and the ruin of country, ancient and a great country like Iraq. you know. And I tell you, sir, and I tell the world, as I look to myself as intellectual, one of Iraqi intellectual, not just journalist. No one let this dividing happen in Iraq. It is impossible. It is impossible. Like what Mr. Trump announcing about Al-Quds as DC for Israeli entirety. It is impossible. It will make the region burning more and more and more because there is geopolitical changing will happen if this matter of Jerusalem, sorry, not Jerusalem, Al-Quds happen. It is, as I said, sir, there is shortage in their information, shortage in their understanding. They think, sir, we are like stories, the Arabs or all the Middle Easterns, like stories. They don't negotiate with you, don't listen with you, because as I tell you, there's people tell them what they want them to hear, because the responsibility to understand and make your acts depending on your understanding is more difficult than that you imagine.
Oh, great.
Imagine, think and do it.
Oh, great!
Okay.
You have very clear point of view and political point of view. I'm really thankful to you. You said everything very clearly, and you responded my questions very loudly and clearly. And I think you are really a genius person, intelligent person,
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
representing every kind of view, and you have a complete eye over the political situation in your country. Very last question, sir. Do you believe that the forces working within the premises of Iraq, like America, like Iran, they will be thrown out of the Iran shortly or after a very long time struggle? Do you believe that they will be thrown out and Iraq will be free country?
Sir, I said to you the sovereignty and this is and many other terms uh, need education, sir, need cultures in our community. The problem of America and Iran, they trying to pro to prog the Iraqi identities to sub identities like sectarian identities and other things. You know, if you read about Iraqi history, the conflicts like what happened now happened many times in our history. You know, but I think as I tell you, sir, I want to finish with something Alexander, Macedonian Alexander, with his teacher Aristotle. He tell him the people of Iraq will make me mad, because when I do everything, they know it and go in another way. Aristotle tell him this is because their nature, their geography, their environments, that I tell these powers, what you do, maybe you gain some profits, and the short you
Sure.
get some short profits, but in the middle and in the long terms, you will lose everything. Maybe now I have no crystal to see the future, but I depend on my opinion about facts. I live with it. I know it. Maybe I see the matters in this way, but I think if not Iran and not America understand what happened in Iraq and say to themselves, I know there's other powers in Iraq. You know, there's difference between statesman statesmen and states of regime. If they don't understand there's another powers in our community, maybe they don't talk, maybe they are silent, maybe they are now go away from the country. But this powers who will build and give the shape, who will be good for all country have interest in Iraq.
Okay, last,
Thank you,
last,
sir.
last, last one more question. Suddenly I
Okay,
came into my mind. What do
okay,
you
okay.
what do you say about Saddam regime? Was it in favor of Iraq and it integrated
Uh,
Iraq more powerfully?
Sir, if you let me mention what Hassan al-Alawi, if you know this name, he's a famous writer in Iraq, said they asked him if Saddam Hussein was like the propaganda said he's was the agent for the Western powers or is not. He said he was play with them, call it in Arabic language al-istikhdam. He do what they want and they let him take what he want. But as I said in my articles and in my opinion, Saddam Hussein confirmed to everyone he's more patriot than the people of this regime, with all respect for their humanity characters. I wrote it and I say it and I will say it. And the same time, sir, I am when I say this, I am from south of Iraq. You understand what? But I said it. He's more patriot. He's more Iraqi than this peoples of this regime, and I will tell it to the last breath of me. Okay, that's my opinion.
Okay, that's great. That's great. You think Saddam Hussein was the most patriot person for Iraq, and he did everything for Iraq what he could. Thank you very much, Mr.
Uh,
Massar Razi.
uh,
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
if
But
you if
let
you want
me
to
tell you this
add anything.
sarcastic. Yes, yes, sir. When I tell you this, Saddam Hussein, the ex-president, because we want to speak politically and respectfully, the ex-president of Iraq, Saddam Hussein, execution two of my uncles, and I say this. It is when you want to see the picture, it is not you profit from this or not to profit from this. We talk about country, we talk about culture, we talk about civilization. And the last thing, sir, I hear you yesterday. I hear you when I see your interviews with the president or with the IFJ. The Iraq is member in this organization. But I tell you, sir, the international organization like IFJ don't do anything for journalists. They don't give the journalist access for, like example, the United Nations who interest in helping the journalists and independent newspaper and other things. Okay, so there is a net,
This
a net of interest between this organization and a specific person who representing the classical bodies of journalism in Iraq.
Oh, very
Okay,
true, very true. I'm glad to know
okay,
everything.
sir.
And
They don't do
your last word about
when
IFJ, it is very important, and I will definitely uh, flash it. This is very important reservation you have about IFJ, and I will definitely contact Mr. Philpe and tell him your grievances. This is very important, and he should address these grievances if they are, if you're true. And thank you very much, Mr. Massar Razi. It's been a very good and pleasure interview for me, and I'm very happy to know you, to think about, and to know about you. Your views are very patriotic, and one should be patriotic first, and then everything he is. I am very glad to interview you, and I'm sure we will be in contact, and we will make some other meetings and some other interviews in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, about this opportunity, and I am so honorable to know a person like you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.